Dean, and it's time for another edition of Books and Booze. Tonight I'm making a cocktail I call The Three Cities, and it's inspired by China Miéville's novel The City and the City. I read this book a while ago. My friend gave it to me, and I was fascinated by it. It was so captivating. And then I just recently discovered that they've made a TV version of the book that you can watch on Amazon Prime. So the book came out in 2009, and the TV series The City and the City released in 2018. And I'm not all the way through the series, but it does a great job of visualizing the book and depicting its eeriness and profundity. So what I loved about The City and the City, it actually has everything that makes me geek out and my favorite kind of book. It's set in a mysterious Eastern European locale. It's surrealist. It's Miéville's considered a speculative fiction novelist. All of his books have something surreal, or you might call it almost magical realism. He's in that weird fiction genre that I like a few other authors in. And he has a life goal of writing in every genre. So this book is considered his noir novel. But he also has a background in social anthropology, and that really comes through in the book, and I think that's probably the thing that captivated me most. I love myths and archaeology and origin stories that reveal something about who people are and why they are. I mean, I think it's like the biblical scholar / priest in me that is fascinated by that sort of thing. And the story in The City and the City is there is this country. In fact, it's two countries in one place. One is called Bejel and one is called Ulcoma, and they inhabit the same space on top of each other. So you can see in the cover image, they're, oh, did we turn off? I hate it when that happens. They're side by side, but in this drink that I'm making, I'm imagining them vertically, and I'm even wearing horizontal stripes to evoke the layers of this book and the way that I think about it. So Bejel and Ulcoma inhabit the same space in some mysterious place in Eastern Europe, and the people who live in these cities have no interaction with each other. You need a passport to travel between them, even though you might actually be living on the same street. So if you live in Bejel, you don't see Ulcoma. And if you live in Ulcoma, you don't see Bejel. And the language that Miéville used to describe this is unseeing. So you culturally learn not to see your neighbors from the other city. And it actually will give you a headache and a sense of disorientation if you see it. And there's this mysterious authority called the Breach who will come the moment that you are spotted seeing the other city if you do. So children are taught to be afraid of the Breach, and adults do fear the Breach, and this preserves this kind of separation of these two cities right on top of each other. I mean, right off the bat, you could tell it's a fascinating concept, and then the writing is beautiful and the plot is compelling. An American girl is killed in Bejel, but she lives in Ulcoma, and that's not supposed to happen. And as the detective character begins to investigate, you're just completely caught up in this fascinating story. And I am particularly interested in it because beneath Ulcoma and Bejel is the third city called Orsini that archaeologists are uncovering, that really reveals that people from Bejel and people from Ulcoma aren't that different. But this news is so devastating that authorities and many people will go to great lengths to preserve the separation. I think it's a very profound metaphor. It's a high concept book, but the underlying metaphor is so simple about our human instinct to tribalism. And so of course it was really fascinating to me. So I'm making this drink called The Three Cities, inspired by Miéville's novel, The City and the City. I'm getting a little creative here, so you're gonna have to bear with me. We're gonna go with a layered cocktail, and the truth is most layered cocktails they sound like a kind of a nasty college shot drink, the B-52, the sex on the beach, that kind of stuff. So we're gonna try a different one today. And I've been tasting and layering it. This is a chemistry heavy cocktail. So the first thing I learned is that you want to pour over a spoon when you're making a layer, but we don't need to do that for our bottom layer. I have this funky ice cup. that you can see. So my bottom layer is some Kahlua. Nice coffee liqueur that's going to bring our sweetness, totally consistent with our geography of Eastern Europe that you would have a coffee liqueur. Now, the second layer I'm using is a mixture that I made of half and half and ouzo, which I thickened a little bit with xanthan gum I just happened to have around because we do some gluten-free stuff at my house. You know, if you wanted to make this at home and you didn't want to get that Chem Lab on this cocktail, you could certainly use a Bailey's Irish Cream, and that was the consistency that I was going for the density layer. But I wanted to get that Middle Eastern flavor instead of the Irish whiskey. I wanted to go with ouzo, which is the anise liqueurs like Rocky, that we can that would be more consistent with the flavor that we're going for. Maybe this is my Okoma, and then of course we're going to do a layer of vodka on the top, which is the Bejel, and some mysterious named drink that sounds a lot like vodka is what our detective drinks in the city. So that's his layer. I'm going to pour my thickened ouzo and cream layer over the spoon just to see if it helps us stack our layers. Yeah, we're getting a float here. That's what we want. It's a little thick from my xanthan gum. And then on top of that layer, oh, we don't want any more ouzo. We're gonna go with our vodka. Now, you could pour this on the rocks also, but I think that a shot glass or something like this with one big piece of cocktail ice might be the way to go. You definitely are gonna want it to be cool or cold. So there's our layer, our Three Cities cocktail, in honor and inspired by the brilliant novel, The City and the City, and a great show that's fun to watch. I think I'd recommend this drink if you're gonna watch the show, but you gotta stay sharp to read that book, so you might wanna go with something a little bit less boozy than this one. It's so pretty, I just don't wanna mess with those layers. Let's give it a sip. See if they come out in the sip. It's a surprisingly great combo, the ouzo with the Kahlua. And so I hope you give it a try. And I definitely highly recommend this fabulous book, beautifully written, and a really well done rendition in the TV show. Thanks a lot for watching.